All right, hey, what's up, everybody? It's David from Waiting 9 Productions. I'm here with Mike, our studio hand, and today we're going to be doing some modifications to this Fender Twin Reverb amp. This is a 65 reissue. It's currently loaded with two Jensen special design speakers, and we're going to be swapping them out for some EVM 12Ls. We might be messing around with pulling some tubes out of the circuit as well to see how that actually affects the tone. And yeah, we're going to be doing some playing too. I'm going to be DIing the signal so we can reamp it once the speakers are swapped to see how the performances compare. And yeah, so let's see what the results are here. All right, so I'm here with Mike, the technical guy. And we're going to start digging into this twin here. So we're going to start by removing both of these panels here so we could get better access as to what's going on inside of here. Essentially what we're going to do once we get that off is we are going to remove these. Here, Mike, why don't you give them a rundown?
Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take off these two panels and we're going to take these speaker connections out. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the main line coming in, and you can see, well, you can't see in here, but the main line comes in and basically it just forks off into the other one with a, it's just an add-on. So we're going to do the same with the speakers coming in. We're going to take these speakers out, pop them out, put them inside, and rewire the connectors here into the new speakers and put it back together, basically. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Nothing too complicated, so yeah.
All right, so one thing that was kind of throwing me for a loop here is the different terminals that are actually on the speakers to connect the leads coming out of the output. These have some sort of what would you call this, Mike? These have fork terminals on them, and the Jensens have fork terminals. The EVs have a different kind of connector on them, which basically makes us have to remove the fork terminals themselves and actually essentially crimp the connection. Is that right? Yeah, so the connection's basically crimped at that point inside of this port that closes down on it, basically. So yeah, we're going to get this back panel off and then check back in. Okay, so now that we have the back panels off here, what we're basically going to start doing is unscrewing the speakers from the chassis after we remove all the wiring here. As Mike was explaining to me earlier, there's basically a negative and a positive lead that are running out of the speaker output jacks here. And the one with the red line on it is basically the positive lead, and then the full black one is just the negative. So essentially what's running, I'm not sure which kind of configuration this is, if it's in series or parallel, but the output is running to the rear end of this Jensen over here, and then there's two leads that are bouncing off of this into the other one. This is totally new to me. I have no idea how to actually remove and install speakers, so I don't know. I find this very fascinating. So yeah, that's basically what we're going to do. It looks like there's a zip tie that's holding this bundle of wires here, and Mike is essentially just pulling them off the fork terminals. Stuck on there a little bit. All right, so what's going on?
Since these fork terminals aren't coming off, we can do one of two things. We can just cut them off, which would leave a little bit of space on here so we can reattach them if necessary. I think somebody just put them on there and then crimped them down to make them super tight because they're not coming off, and I don't want to rip them off or cause any damage or anything. So I think we're just going to cut them about a 1/4 inch, about a 1/2 inch from the lead, and then use that to put the other speakers in, because you definitely have room.
They got to be cut anyway because the EV terminals won't take fork connectors. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And there's plenty of length in the wire here that we have being held together by this zip tie that Mike's cutting out right now. So yeah, shouldn't be any issues there. I don't plan on using these Jensens anytime soon. I don't really have another cabinet, so this is I just got this amp recently, about 2 weeks ago. So Mike's cutting the connector, the wire right now. Okay, so now we're going to pull the speakers out and get them out of the cabinet, and then we'll start working with the EVs. Okay, everybody, we're back here. So what we just did is we just removed all the leads coming from the speaker output. Mike actually trimmed some of these wires here. He cut them with a pair of wire cutters here because with the EVs, the fork terminals are useless, as we know. So now he just went in with a wrench basically and undid these sockets, or I'm sorry, these nuts that are around the screw in there, bolt, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, so we loosened them up, and we're basically just going to come in here with our fingers and remove them once they're all loose.
How the most important thing when you're taking these apart is to not mess too much with the magnet, but don't hit these tubes, because the nuts down there and the transformer is right there. So you definitely want to be careful in this area.
Right, and these are, I believe these are 6L6s with some 12AX7s, the preamp, possibly even another type, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, so we'll check back in once we're about to pull these speakers out and load the EVs. All right, so here we are. We just got all the bolts off these screws, holding down the Jensens, which are C12Ks, 8-ohm speaker. I think they're 25 watts. I'm not sure. So yeah, so now Mike is just going to demonstrate how to basically pull the speaker out of the cabinet. It's pretty straightforward, but yeah, why don't you go ahead and pull one of those speakers, Mike?
The only thing you got to be careful of is this one here, is because you have the tubes here. So what you want to do is kind of lift it up and push it towards the back and angle it up and out instead of pulling it straight out, because you can hit the tubes.
Okay. Stuck on there. That one just lifts right off. Okay. So this guy doesn't seem to want to move. Okay. Wait, hold on. Let's get a quick look at this speaker right here. So this is the Jensen from the front end. The magnet. I believe there's glue around the cone and the side here. I think they call that doping, is the adhesive they use to secure the actual cone to the chassis for the speaker. All right, cool. So we got the EVs in some boxes over here, and we're gonna throw them in. Give us a look at those EVs real quick, Mike. Nice. Brand new EVM 12L. Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
I says, see the red terminals here and the black terminals? We want to keep those towards the center like they were before on the speakers that came out of it. So we're just going to set this down in here.
in. As we see, both lead terminals are facing the center here, so the wires can reach with no issue. And yeah, so now we're going to take care of the wiring, and well, I guess first we're going to secure the speakers into the cabinet. Good call, Mike. All right, we'll check back in. All right, so we're back here. Mike secured the EVs into the cabinet. They're looking really, really sweet. So next is obviously running the speaker cable here from the jack, connecting it to the speakers, and then jumping them with this braided cable here. So Mike, why don't you tell us what your game plan here is with this?
Well, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip these wires at about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. And as this one is going connected into here, we're going to join these here so you can jump this over to the other speaker. That's basically it. You're just stripping the wires and bonding them together so they go from one speaker to the other. That's about it.
Awesome. All right, so I've actually never seen somebody strip a cable before, so this should be pretty interesting. So we have our stripper tool here, and he's basically putting it in between the teeth.
You can kind of find the size. I always go with the biggest size first, just to make sure that I'm not cutting into the actual leads in there, which, see, that's a little bit too loose. So I go to the next one and just kind of move it around and then pop it off.
Sweet. So now it's just a bare copper wire sitting out of there. We got about 1/2 inch of it there, and doing the same thing to the negative lead here. Sweet. So now we got some bare wire here coming out of the main cable, and now for the twisted pair, which is going to jump from one speaker to the other.
Now this one's a little bit smaller. I have to go to the next one down. Nope, not even smaller. Nope, even smaller.
So that's interesting. We have different gauge size here with the jumper cable, and just be careful with doing this over the cabinet.
So we're going to do this to both sides because one is going to be joined with the main cable coming out, and the other one's going to go to the other speaker. So the one that's going to the other speaker, I'm going to do a little bit longer so I can kind of fold it over and get more grip on the connection.
That's it. So yeah, there's our braided jumper cable, and now Mike's just gonna twist the pair, just to neaten it up a little bit. And guess no soldering involved here so far. So this was turning out much easier than I thought it was gonna be. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the cabling run, and then do another sound test here. We split the signal with this DI box here, so the performance you heard earlier will be exactly the same, just reamped through the Twin again. You got anything else to add, Mike?
Yeah. What I'm going to do is you got the power one, or the positive one here with the red stripe. I'm going to use the white with the red, so the black stays constant with the ground. That's all. It just makes it easier to remember.
Very smart idea. All right, we'll check back in. So very, 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 very quickly, we got these wires run. Mike, why don't you walk us through how you actually got the wire into these connectors?
Well, like I said, I took the positive with the white wire with the to make the jump over to the other speaker, put it into the positive one, and took the negative along with the black jumper and just basically put those two together in one, and then just took the other speaker or the other wire and just put it to the other speaker. It's pretty straightforward.
Took not even 5 minutes to actually do. I'm actually really surprised by this. It was about a minute and 30 seconds. I mean, if that. Really the most time-consuming thing of this whole project has been actually removing the speakers from the cabinet itself. So looks like we're up and running. I mean, we can check all these connections here. I mean, all the bolts are pretty secure. Speakers are fixed in. Everything's all neat here. Mike did a great job with that. And we're gonna power it on. I was reading online that there's actually a way to break new speakers in. Turning the amp up pretty loud and then backing the treble off, actually running a lot of bass and mids in there, and just playing some wide open chords for about 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know if that's actually true. I'm sure it takes much longer to actually break these in, whatever that means. But yeah, I'll play through it a little bit and then we'll actually reamp that signal from earlier and do a little comparison here and see what we got. We have a pretty interesting mic configuration going on here. I'm going to hand the microphone to Eric here so he can kind of talk us through what's going on a little bit.
Hey, I'm Eric from Waiting 9 Productions. So yeah, we have been miking Dave's right speaker just right to the right of the center of the cone with the standard SM57. We're also DIing his guitar straight in so that we can reamp it back in. Just for room mics, just to see how they all sound, we have an AKG 414 XL2, a Sennheiser MD421 as a room mic, which I've never really done before, Bluebird, and a Rode M5. Actually, with all 6 signals going, the guitar actually sounds really cool, and you'll hear that later.
Okay, so that was the Twin with the bright switch bypass. Now it's engaged, and yeah, we're gonna see how it sounds.